What's up, my Finna Left? It's Miss Finna D coming to you all from Vienna Entertainment News.
Oh, I'm tired. I just got off my little work job. But I'm on my way out, leaving work. It's Monday morning, Rick Smiley Morning Show. And if it's Monday morning, that means that we just got over Sunday night, Real Housewives of Atlanta, and we are definitely back in full effect. So my girl D is here, and she just started asking me all of these questions. So I assumed, like, if she had these questions and wanted some answers, that y'all might want some answers too. So instead of just answering her, I decided to go live and to answer y'all's questions and her questions to you guys, and then some other shit that came to. So when it comes to what really, really matters, when Candy, Cynthia, and y'all ready for this? Kenya, I don't care what nobody say about Kenya. I rock with Kenya Moore because Kenya she shows up when ain't no cameras around, when nobody is here to talk about it, when you don't put it on Instagram. My bassinet, my baby sleeps in right now, Kenya gave me, put together, personally delivered to my house. Like, that was never on TV. You'll never tweet about that. You know, Christmas morning, good morning, Merry Christmas, Sterling, just little stuff, you know what I mean? If something she sees on Instagram or something she heard, she'll call me personally. Like, I appreciate who Kenya is, the fullness of Kenya. I think you guys see one part of Kenya that's great for TV. I think she's amazing for TV, but she is, if I had to kill somebody and bury some bodies, I would do it with Cynthia and Kenya out of the crew.
But is that affecting Kenya's image?
Well, see, the problem is that people forget that you're more than one person. So, like, the you at work is not the same person that your homegirl sees. And it doesn't mean that you're two-faced or anything. People are layered. And oftentimes for this show, because there's so many characters on the show and so many stories, there's really, and to Bravo and Productions' defense, not enough time to show you everyone's, full person. Because there's so many people on the show. But, I can say that Kenya is good people. She is well-intended. She has a good heart. Now, y'all know the other stuff. She petty. She the shade queen. She'll read you for filth. You know what I'm saying? She low blow. She do all of that stuff. I'm not talking about what y'all do know. I'm talking about what you don't know. And what you don't know is she's stand-up.
I mean, this is not shocking to me. This is a Kenya Moore that I know and support. This is a Kenya Moore that most of you who support her know and support. And this is a Kenya Moore that most of you are aware of, and that's the reason why you can see through Bravo BS. Kenya just don't wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get mad and attack someone for a storyline. What you see is when Kenya reacts, okay? If you're cool with her, she's cool with you. When you cross her, then you're going to get a reaction because what you did was wrong, and she's going to call you out on it. What Eva is saying further confirms, okay, what I've been saying in a few videos now. How many fans do you see going to the media talking about Kenya Moore did A, B, and C to me when I met her? She was this, that, and the third. I think I've done a few videos on here about somebody else, doing things to their supporters, okay? Even a recent video I posted on Kenya and her husband. When they walked into, the Moore hair care setup at the Bronner Brothers, show a few weeks ago, she walked in, made sure everything was okay, and then she turned around and addressed her supporters, okay? Yes, the video right here. I had to cut it short and, get to when she walked in and then said hi because she and her husband were walking for a while before they got to the location. All right. I also talked about over and over again how she's still friends with the people she brought on the show. Like Brandon, she's still friends with all of her friends that she with 30 plus years. You don't see any of the people she worked with, the hairdresser, makeup artist, none of them ever posting, don't work with Kenya Moore, she's a pain in the butt, that. Never. No one is ever in the media trashing her. So if she was this nasty and disgusting person, you don't think that people who work with her would have something to say? The only people who have something to say is if and when they feel like talking about her in that way is going to give them press, because they are a celebrity that people don't pay attention to until they say her name. Okay? Because they know her name bring clicks and views and all of that. But you don't see people in her regular life coming online and trashing her. Never. So this right here further confirms, what I've been talking about. Even the Portia who's desperately looking for a new storyline because the one she had with Dennis isn't working, said it over and over again that when Kenya wasn't on the show, Kenya texted her almost every single day, checked on her throughout her entire pregnancy. Kenya wasn't even on the show. She wasn't getting a check. She wasn't doing it to, get a scene with Portia. None of that. She did everything out of the goodness of her heart, and those words came out of Portia's mouth, okay? Even Cynthia and Eva said in the after show that when Cynthia heard, that Tanya was going through IVF issues, she gave Tanya a Kenya number. And Kenya and Tanya started forming their own little friendship on the side, and they became, close. They're not saying that Kenya and Tanya were best friends, okay? But they were building something, and that Kenya was very helpful to Tanya. Okay, but now Tanya is seeking the peach, and so she's running with this narrative that Kenya was aggressive towards her, and we have yet to see the footage where she claimed Kenya was aggressive towards her, and no one is believing her on that. I do have a separate video on that where people were dragging her for lying like that. So my thing is, in the other video update I'm going to do on this, because Eva was on live for over 20 minutes, Eva, talked about her issue that she had with Portia. I'm not including it in here because I'm going to do it in that other video I said I was going to do. But even though Eva talked about her issues with Portia, when someone made a positive remark and left a comment on the live about Portia, Eva hopped right on it, and Eva said, yeah, of course, Portia is a fun girl. Portia is this, down the third. You can still have an issue with someone and still acknowledge the good things in them. So had Tanya said, look, I thought Kenya and I were forming a friendship, and that after hearing someone saying something about my fiance, she would have then come to me as a friend or someone that I'm trying to get to know, and basically told me, and it didn't have to go that far. But excluding that, Kenya have been nothing but nice to me. She's helping with, my IVF research and all of that. I would have respected Tanya so much more. Like, look, I'm upset. However, when we were good, we were good. I respect people like that. But for you to just flat out lie and just discredit everything she's done for you, that's the part that I don't mess with. But like I said, you have to be on a different level to rock with someone like Kenya Moore. Your intelligence have to be on a different level, and the way how you watch the show have to also be on a different level. Most people jump on bandwagons. Most people watch the show at face value. They don't pay attention to the things that they see as little when they are major, okay? I planned on keeping this video only about Kenya, but I want to add something that Eva said about Cynthia. I'm going to include everything that she said about Cynthia in a completely separate video. Let me go ahead and play just a small part of what she said about Cynthia.
You and Cynthia seem like...
That's my girl.
I know. What was it that happened that made you guys become such good friends? Because I was concerned, like, if you had your baby, like, what if, the water
breaks in her car.
Like,
that's a Range Rover. She got leather seats.
Okay.
Cynthia and I became very fast friends. I think both of us had a lot of trepidation initially with getting to know each other, because we were kind of warned about each other. I was warned about her. She was warned about me.
Really?
Yes. And so where I don't necessarily take everyone else's opinions on other people and make them my own, if someone tells you that that guy is a murderer, then you're going to be a little bit more skeptical about being around that person by yourself or whatever, right? So definitely didn't tell me that Cynthia was a murderer, but I was warned about her and she about me. And when that person was no longer in our life on a day-to-day basis, and we got to get to know each other, me and Cynthia have so much in common, like so much in common. And you know, we have the same friend circles, maybe at different points in our lives, but our lives and our paths have crossed so many times. So many friends in common. Actually, just bought a new house. It's up the street from Cynthia. I'm one exit from her. But I think what really, really forged our bond was how she showed up for me during my pregnancy. You know, when you're pregnant, it's that time where you're really excited. There's a lot changing, but that change often means you're alone because you don't have your friends anymore. Or even if your friends are married with kids, they ain't pregnant. You know what I'm saying? I have friends that husbands have had vasectomies. And so everyone's chilling. And I had to, couldn't go on girls' trips, couldn't go to certain dinners, couldn't do a lot of things that I would normally want to do because I was pregnant. And Cynthia was that girl that's like, I'm coming over. I'm hanging out. She would come to my little bitty 2-bedroom condo in Buckhead and bring me snacks and food and sit on my little couch with me and just shoot this shit. And it was priceless. It was absolutely priceless.
If you heard Eva correctly, she said there was a person, in summary, basically feeding her things, about Cynthia. Okay? Basically, watch out for her. This going to happen, that's going to happen, right? Okay. We already know who that person was. It was Nene Leakes. Okay? And once Nene was no longer in their lives, okay, then she got to know Cynthia without the noise. So it's also possible that someone was also feeding Eva those lies about Kenya. So Eva is now told those lies about Kenya, and Eva watched the show. So then she came in with this attitude, go after Kenya. She went after Kenya, realized, okay, this ain't what I want. Once Kenya gave her the warning at that table, and then got to see the real Kenya. So for the people leaving comments like this on the screen right now, list all of the things that Eva and Kenya went through on the show. This is where I talk about common sense. The girl just said, the Kenya that I know that you guys don't get to see on TV, but then you come and you list everything that you've seen on TV. And she's telling you there's layers to Kenya that Bravo doesn't want you to see. Yes, I am aware that Kenya and Eva had their issue in the beginning and all of that. So it's the same thing that I feel that happened here. That person feeding, Eva things, and based on what Eva also saw on the show, and Eva also thinking, well, if I also go for Kenya Moore, I will get a few sings or whatever. And then after that, that's when the whole attitude about, I'm not going to Brooklyn's party. I'm not bringing my kids. And well, she came, but I'm not bringing my kids. And all of these different things, okay? And then she and Kenya had their situation at the table. Okay, at that point, they were not cool. But then she got to know the real Kenya, and all of that stopped. That's the reason why you have people saying things like, so did Kenya and Eva have a conversation? How did this go from being at each other to being cool? Bravo don't want you guys to see that, and that's why they did not film it. Also, because Kenya genuinely wanted to know Eva, based on Eva wanting to get to know her. It didn't matter whether it was on camera or not. All you know is that they are cool and they get along, okay? Shout out to Eva. As long as Eva stay true, Kenya will stay true, okay? Now, if Eva starts crossing the line again for TV, then Kenya will put her in check again. But it doesn't mean that what Eva just said is invalid. That's the whole nature of friendship. You and your friends go through ups and downs, and sometimes y'all don't get along all the time. but it doesn't erase the good things that you said about them when times were good. On the show, all of the moments this season that people been dragging Kenya for, like, oh, she's a mean girl, she's evil, this and the third. If you truly pay attention, then you will realize that Kenya did not start any of the mess this season on the show that she's being dragged for, and that all she did was reacted and also defended herself. And I'm going to break it down for you. Bravo doesn't want you to see this side of Kenya, and that's the reason why, most of her beautiful scenes are cut. And any other scenes that's going to expose the ringleader of these things that Kenya is being dragged for are also cut out of the episodes. And it's not until Kenya put production on blast is when they flash 2 seconds of every scene. But every moment where Kenya is the villain and she's this angry person and this, that, and the third, it's because people did things to her, and all Bravo showed was her reaction. Now, I'm not saying Kenya Moore is a saint, okay, and she doesn't do and haven't done anything on this show, okay, in a negative way. What I'm saying is, if you really do pay attention, then you will notice that Kenya is simply reacting to things and not the ringleader. But in summary, the whole Cookie Lady situation, Bravo, Tanya, and Cynthia Bailey are the ringleaders. They're trying to make Tanya happen so that she could get a peach. So that's a storyline. Go ahead and really listen to that video and you will hear my theory and all of that. Certain moments, like for example, at the Bailey queue, Cynthia calling Kenya, screaming at her, telling her why she couldn't bring Brooklyn, just for Portia to bring Pilar. Cynthia then called Kenya back to tell her that it's okay to bring Brooklyn. Kenya have an attitude, but Bravo never showed that Cynthia Bailey just basically yelled, screamed, and dragged Kenya over the phone, telling her why she couldn't bring her daughter. All we saw was the back end of Kenya having an attitude when Cynthia Bailey called her. So Kenya got dragged for that. Just for Kenya to say at the table, nah, Cynthia just called me and did A, B, and C on the phone. But Bravo never showed us that. All they did was showed us Kenya's reaction after Cynthia had called her and was mean to her, okay? So I'm glad that for once, they flash back Kenya talking to Tanya in a very peaceful manner and expose that Tanya is a liar, because the aggressive nature she was talking about, we still have yet to see it. There's a lot of things going on that we are not getting to see until Kenya says something about it. There's a lot more that I can say, but this video was about, Eva keeping it real and being honest. A lot of people want to be on the show and will do anything for a check, and they will do anything to make sure they keep that going on. So, Eva could have basically not acknowledged any of this and kept going at, Kenya, just for her bag. But I love that, if it's my place on the show, it will be my place on the show, especially if this person is nice to me without the camera being around. I'm going to make sure that people know about that. So shout out to Eva. I said a lot more, but this video just went into a completely different direction. I realized that I'm being repetitive because every detail that I've listed about, Kenya being dragged into stuff and she's simply reacting, I've already talked about it. So if you go on the Real Housewives of Atlanta playlist, you will see the detailed engagement video and how I feel about that whole situation and all of that. But I did include a link in the description below, though, to the Cookie Lady video and, my theory on why I think it was set up by Bravo, Tanya, and Cynthia. And lastly, in this social media day and age where people do everything, for the recognition and things like that, especially reality TV, when someone can just do things for you from the goodness of their heart and just be there for you without the cameras, that's when you know that person is real. And that's the reason why, as much as I'm still giving Cynthia Billy the side eye and Candy, but that's the reason why you can see them have disagreements with Kenya. Okay, they all talk about it and move on because deep down inside they are aware that she is a good human being off and on camera. That's why, especially Kenya and Cynthia, they can really go there, but they never leave each other presence without resolving the issue. And then you can see Cynthia was the one who was being petty by not communicating with Kenya in the last episode because her cover was blown. Kenya basically exposed her little mission she was on with Bravo and Tanya and this cookie lady. But as you can see, she came out the house, they had a conversation, and they move on. That happens because this person is a good human being, and I'm not going to allow some petty BS, to end that or erase that. When someone can still have your back, be there for you and all of that, when there's no money involved, when there's no storyline involved, none of that, that's when you have a real one and you have a real friend. Well, overall, I am wishing all of these girls the best, and I'll be back with, the rest of the Instagram live and what Eva had to say about Portia and Nene and all of that. The end of here, my final loves. Thank you all for your love and support. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and leave this video a thumbs up. Also turn on notifications so when I do post, you're aware that I posted. And I will see you all in the comment section. Remember to always have the God bless attitude, which is being positive at all times and seeing the good in every situation. Have a great day, guys. God bless.